My name is Abigail Sum. I work at the Regional Center for Mapping of Resources for Development, RCMRD, as a communications officer. And before we start, I'd just like to appreciate all of you for joining us today for this second webinar for the RCMRD Arts and Maps Competition 2026 edition. As you're aware, this year's competition theme is acting locally for global impact. And today's webinar is just an opportunity to take you through the submission formats, all the submission formats, and also the deadlines, what is expected for the competition, and how to upload your entries, basically the submission process. So thank you all again for joining. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to us via the Q&A or the chat sections, and our team will be able to respond to your queries and your questions. So I'd like us to get straight into it, and I'd like to introduce Dennis Mongera to just tell us just a little bit about the competition and what the expectations are for this year. Welcome, Dennis.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon from if you're in an afternoon. But yeah, hello this day. My name is Dennis Mongera, as my colleague Abby has mentioned, and today I'll be taking us through what the Arts and Maps competition is about and what to expect. First of all, I would like to thank our registered participants who have already registered for the competition, and it's such a great honor that you have joined us for this year's edition as well. Looking forward to seeing what we'll do, what we'll come up with this year, and what kind of output we'll get. For our newcomers, stick with us and see what the competition is about, and we'll get to just learn more and more about conserving our environment. So basically, the Arts and Maps competition has been an annual occurrence, an annual activity that we do at the RCOE, Regional Center of Excellence, for mapping of biodiversity, forests, seascapes, and ecosystems. So this has been happening annually ever since from the year 2024, and it has attracted so many participants each and every year from across 25 countries of the Eastern and Southern Africa region. So we look forward to uniting all the countries come together so that we can come up with innovative ways of representing our environment and our nature in various forms of art. There's a famous saying that is there that tells us maps tells us where things are, but art tells us why we should care about where they are. So combining the two aspects of arts and maps, the arts and the maps concepts, and it brings out the diverseness of what we need to protect in our environment and in our ecosystems. So basically, this year's edition, as last year's edition, we have a theme, and the theme for this year is acting locally and acting locally for global impact. So this theme has been inspired by International Biodiversity Day, which they have a similar theme, and this looks to tell us and to inform us that the local stewardship of our the local stewardship that we inhibit or we put into our environment and ecosystems will have a global impact to the overall protection of our environment and our nature. So the very small grassroots activity that you do on on your local community will get to be seen as a global impact when it comes to the conservation of our ecosystems. So that being our theme, we look to see um, submissions that are leaning towards this kind of theme, where the community has been um, used or has been involved in the protection and in the global impact of protection of our environment. So we are looking forward to the submissions that will be showcased this year, and we can't wait to see what all of you will come up with, and we'll just get to see. My colleagues will come in later to talk about the submission aspect of the competition. So, so about the competition generally, I think we have various categories of the competition. We have the professional category, which has universities and professionals as well. So this inhibits or has is the category that holds the wholesome GIS professionals, educators, researchers, university-going students. So they all fall under the professional category, and we shall get to see the kind of products they can submit. In this case, they can submit dashboards, story maps. They can submit um, um, applications, web applications as well. So these are all the products that innovatively the professional category can submit to the competition, and we look to see what kind of innovativeness the professional category can bring. And then the other category of the competition is the school category, which now where we classify and we put our primary schools and our secondary schools. In this case, they can be able to submit similar products in the sense of they can do maps in form of paintings, in form of artwork, in form of the handcrafted products that they can come up with. So this we've classified them as one. So this falls under the school category. That's the primary schools and um, the secondary schools. So we look to see what that category also can bring to the front of the competition. So those being the two themes, they are all they are all classified in those two categories. Now, to dig deeper into the competition, now the competition has also diverse themes that our participants can participate. So whether you are in each category of either of the two, whether in professional or the school category, you can get to participate in various themes, and namely these are biodiversity, the biodiversity theme. So whether you have product that you'd like to showcase or submit in the biodiversity theme, also in the seascape theme as well. In this case, you can, for the professional, you can do a dashboard that talks about the seascapes, the marine ecosystems. Then we have the other theme, which is the forest theme, so which you can also submit in regards to a forest theme. You can do a submission of your product in the category of forest. So so we've established that we have two categories, which are the professional and the school category. And then further, we have a breakdown of the various themes that you can submit um, your products, which in this case could be now either in the biodiversity theme, the seascape theme, or the forest themes. Now, we've been able to now see maybe the grand scheme of what the competition is, how is it structured, and the other part of the competition is as well. Yes, after all this, um we are well aware that after all this, there is also the reward bit of the competition. And what we have is what we usually have every year. And in this case, we have 16,000 euros up for grabs in the competition. And this will be divided among the competitors on the various categories. So if you are a winner in the biodiversity theme, if your submission has been a winner in the biodiversity team, there is a prize for you. In the forest team, there's a prize for you, and then there's in the seascape team, there's also a prize for you. And then there's of course the overall winner that also comes along and wins the prize. The overall winner is chosen by the people. So um the pricing also reflects on both categories, whether in the professional or in the school category as well. So having that breakdown, we have how the competition is structured, and we have the various forms of categories that we can take part in, and also we can also see that at the end of it all, we have a section where we get to be is something up for grabs. And in as much as we are aiming to get and impact our community and show the global impact of protection of our ecosystems and environment, is the very flip side of it, which is you get rewarded for that. The goal is to not only just also get the reward, but to also make an impact with our ecosystems, make an impact, as our team is talking about, acting locally and making global impact. So again, the with that structure, I would like to also now maybe officially say thank you to the people who have registered to our competition. And for the newcomers and those who are joining us for the first time, we are still registering for submissions, registration for the competition. Sorry, and our link is open on our website. You can be able to register for the competition. It's not too late. And then later in the meeting, we'll get to see what it is about how to submit our various innovations and products that we have come up with. I think with that, I would like to give it back to Abby to coordinate the program now from there. Back to you, Abby.
Thank you, Dennis, for that overview about the competition. So basically, the objective of this competition is an opportunity for you to use your art, whichever form of art it is, whether it is a painting, a drawing, or writing, that is essays or videos, as well as the use of maps and data just to tell your stories, raise awareness, and also develop innovative solutions that protect our planet's biodiversity and natural resources. So that is basically the main goal for this competition. And I'd also like to highlight that the competition is open to 25 countries in Eastern and Southern Africa. These 25 countries are Angola, Botswana, Burundi, Comoros, Djibouti, Eritrea, Eswatini, Ethiopia, Kenya, Lesotho, Madagascar, Malawi, Mauritius, Mozambique, Namibia, Rwanda, Seychelles, Somali, South Africa, South Sudan, Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. So those are the countries that are eligible to participate in this competition. Now, I'd like us to get into the submission formats for each of the categories, that is the schools category, and the professionals or the tertiary universities category. And I'd like to welcome my colleague, Isaac Fadamula to take us through these submission formats and what is expected in each of the formats. Isaac?
Yeah, thanks, Abigail. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're watching us. So I would like just to give you a brief overview of what to expect from the two categories during the submission process. And that's what will be evaluated against your output, and you'll be judged against that for you to either emerge as the overall winner or as a winner in any of the categories. So I'll share my screen so that we are able to see what you can be able to submit. And then my colleague Joseph will come in to summarize the submission process. So let me share my screen here. Okay, so from the professional category, we have three submission formats that we expect. So you can be able to either have a dashboard, or you can have a story map, or a web map, or a web application. So what we expect from your submission, if you are to submit a dashboard, we expect your dashboard to be as brief as possible, and you should be able to communicate, should be able to just have a highlight of what you are trying to communicate to the user, as it will also influence in the preliminary decision making. You should be able to use um, interactive tools. So by interactive tools, you mean your dashboard should be as interactive as possible. It should be dynamic. We don't expect a static dashboard from the submissions format that will be receiving from our side. So your dashboard should be interactive and dynamic. That means when a feature is selected, you should be able to also reflect on the page that has been selected, and other infographics or other statistics should be able to change as the user selects a certain feature. So for example, we have the SADC TFC status dashboard here. This dashboard highlights the status of the trans-frontier conservation areas in SADC region, which is covering 16 countries within the southern region of Africa. And majority of the countries are within our RCA project, which is sponsoring the competition, and they're eligible for this competition this year. So for example, we have developed a sample dashboard here, which we also expect you to have some clue from it. And in a dashboard, you have some elements which can be able to be used to communicate to the user on what you are passing across. You can have a map element. So we have the map here. So a dashboard must always contain a map, because it gives it the geographical context of your data set. It should contain some statistical features, such as charts, and we have pie charts here. So you have pie charts here, which is just a comparison of different elements within your data set from the attribute data. We have a summary table. You can be able to create a summary table from your data set and be able to call it within your dashboard. We have numerical. These are the integer values. So this is a number. So you can be able to have a statistical number that will now be able to inform what is within your data set. For example, this is area in square kilometers. We have 1,873 kilometers squared. Of that total coverage of the TFCs in the SADC region. We have the treaty status, which is now a comparison of whether it's either emerging, conceptual, or established. And then we have the tabular summary. So whenever you click on a certain TFC, it should be able to give you a summary of that TFC within the dashboard. We have the bar graph here, which can either be horizontal or vertical. And then you have the header, which is the title. So when you're developing a dashboard, you make sure that it has a title, well written, and then it has some of the dashboard elements, which include numbers, pie charts, and basically you should never be allowed to omit a map because it gives it the geographical context. Again, you can have your base map set because I'm using the National Geographic. So when you are trying to communicate anything natural, you can be able to use a very nice base map depending on what you want to communicate. So when you're choosing your base map, also make sure that you choose a base map that will be easy to load on the user side, since our countries have different connectivity levels in terms of internet. Make sure if you are sending us to RCMRD, we have good internet, so you can be able to use satellite imagery or aerial imagery as your base map. Again, I insist, make sure that you have different elements that are able to communicate your work within your dashboard. So for example, if I click on this Lubombo Transfrontier Conservation Area, you find that the first thing it does, it zooms and pans to your locality. So it zooms to that location on the map, so it will be able to highlight your map on your TFC on the map and show you where exactly it is. You don't need to go panning and zooming for you to locate your TFCA. So once you click on it, as you said, your content should always be dynamic within your dashboard. So it shows specifically for that TFCA, it's 686 kilometers squared. And then the treaty status is established. We have the summary about that TFCA. And then you have the treaty that has been signed is 1, and then it's a formalized TFCA. So you can be able to create such a dashboard, such a one-page layout, a representation of your data in order to communicate and influence decisions. So for example, I have just selected Iona Skeleton Coast Transfrontier Park. So we have 32,000, we have the treaty status, and then that is the location on the map where it's located, and then you have other content being adjusted automatically and dynamically based on the selection that you've made within your dashboard. Again, I'll just click on Zimbabwe, Mozambique. This is Zimoza TFCA. So Zimoza TFCA is here, and you can be able to see how big it is and where it is located. So we have the Kaza, which is majorly one of the largest TFCAs within the SADC region. So this is Kaza Transfrontier Conservation Area. So in summary, what your dashboard, we expect from dashboard is that it should be simple, it should be able to communicate, it should be dynamic, and you should be able to link all your items to a selection list that you've made. So I hope by the time you're submitting a dashboard, it should also be clean. So don't have an overpopulated dashboard. Keep it simple, and with that simplicity, you should be able to communicate. And when you are awarding marks, the judges will also be looking at the geospatial context, which I said now you'll be able to include your base map or your web map. So the web map gives your dashboard the spatial context of your data. From the dashboard, we come to the story map. So a story map is just a chronological presentation of your events in a GIS environment, and you'll be able to use it, create it within the Esri ecosystem. So you have a place where you'll be able to create your account within our RCMRD hub, and you'll be using that account to create and develop your dashboards, web applications, and story maps. So this is a sample story map. It's showing the RCA 2025 impact and achievements within our project. So you can have a cover photo here, a cover image, a nice image that communicates even before someone opens or scrolls through your story map. So you have the title, brief description here. So you have the title here, you have the description, and then you have the cover image. You'll also be able to choose a very nice design. So you have text. So what a story map entails, it entails rich data presentation. So you have images, you have videos, we have text, so you can be able to combine text and videos. We have the swap capability, which now helps you to compare two different seasons or two different activities. So this is an express map. You can be able to create an express map which shows the location of different items within your work. So you can be able to present your data or your information or your work in form of pictures. Make sure that you combine text and pictures, because we also want an appealing story map, because the judges will also be looking at how good you are presenting your work within the story map. If you go through our story map, you'll be able to see how well it has been done, and you can be able to showcase your creativity and innovation within your story map. So whatever image that you have to use, make sure that it's high definition and it can be visible to the judges, so that when they are going through your work, they can be able to award you good marks. You can also create some tables within your story map that now focuses on a summarized info that you want to pass to your audience. Again, as I mentioned, you can have a video playing within your story map, either as a cover page or within the story map, to explain maybe the process that you've been working on before you produced a certain product. So make sure that you have these different components combined, and you'll be able to produce a good story map that combines all these story map aspects. We have a map which is in form of a JPEG, so you can be able to attach your map. This is a map of showing the PCA protected area data status for the ESA region as at December 2025. So you can be having several maps. This is 2025. And then if you have 2026, you can put them side by side, and the user will be able to have a comparison of the two maps. You can have an image gallery. You can create an image gallery, which now people can be able to go through it and be able to get what is there. For example, from the second last image on my right is 2025 map competition winners. So this is an image that was taken here at the center. So if any of you will be participating and you win, you'll be able to be awarded, and your photo will also be able to appear within our story map. So we have uh, a combination of all this. We have the images, you have the video, and other components that you can be able to call within your story map. You can also be able to embed external products or external applications through HTML or through iframes, and you'll be able to communicate effectively. So in summary, make sure that you have a very simple and a well laid down story map. So before you start your story map, make sure you have the right images or the right photos. Make sure you have the right
Hello, Isaac. I think we have lost him.
Hello, everyone. I think it seems we have lost Isaac. Isaac, can you hear us? Joseph, are you able to hear Isaac from your end?
No, so I think I can proceed once he comes back. He can wind up.
Okay, Okay, that's fine. So let us proceed. So just to highlight, thank you, Isaac, for that. But I think he'll come and finish with the submission formats when he's reconnected. But just to highlight what the judges are looking for the school category, creativity, visual appeal, your piece should be innovative, and then it should be able to effectively communicate. So those are some of the things that the judges are looking out for the school category. For the professional category, I think Isaac has mentioned a couple of them, but I'll just highlight map-centric, basically exploration, analysis, and presentation of geographical phenomenon with a clear focus on a specific topic. Visual appeal, he's talked about the use of pictures, the use of web maps, and all that. Design and layout should also be appealing. And then your piece should be able to communicate effectively, and also do not forget to use geographic information. So those are some of the items, some of the things that the judges will be on the lookout for when they are reviewing the submission. So I'd like us to proceed, and I'd like to call upon Joseph to just take us through the submission process, the link. Where can you submit your work, and what contains that process? Joseph?
Hello. I hope if Isaac is in, he can thumbs me up and then I'll know. So I'll proceed to the submission links where, as you saw what Isaac was presenting, the formats that you're supposed to present. So we have two major categories, the primary school and the high school, and the professional category. So let me share my screen. Okay, if you can see my screen, thumbs up, thumbs me up. Are you able to see my screen? Abigail?
Hello?
Hello, can you see my screen?
No, we can't see your screen, Joseph.
Okay. What about now?
Yes, now we can be able to see your screen.
Okay, so we have the school category, and this is the form that you shall be filling when you submit your work. So you give us the school name, the school level, either primary or secondary. You choose your country right there, and then the name of the teacher or patron or supervisor, and the telephone number of the teacher or patron or the supervisor, their email address, and the grade of the students that are submitting the submissions. The submission format, it's either a painting or drawing, a video or an essay. And the participants, you list them out here by name, maximum of 10 students. Then you share the photo of the students or the pupils with a painting or drawing. And you have to be aware that once you share the photo, it will be shared in our socials publicly. So you have to be aware of that and give consent that your image will be used in a public forum. So these are the links for you to submit the actual work. So it's either a photo or a painting or a drawing. You submit it through an A4 size photo of the painting or drawing. For now, we are not taking AI generated graphic images, so we need actual work. So if you have a video, then you share the link through this field right here. And then for the essay, you attach the Word or PDF document. Then you submit your entry. That that will mean that now your work has been submitted for the school category, both either primary or the secondary one. So the next one, the next form is for professional category. And again, you give us your full name, the country you're submitting from, the gender, the profession, the age bracket right there, email, submission category. You either choose it either biodiversity, seascape, or forestry ecosystem. The submission format, it's either a story map, a dashboard, or an application. Then down here you choose the data sources. Choose at least 2 of the listed below, which is either from the RCA GeoPortal, from the RCMRD Open Data or Africa GeoPortal, or from the Protected Planet or Ocean Data Viewer, Africa the Living Atlas, the Officer GeoPortal, GMS, Africa GeoPortal, AKP, Africa Knowledge Platform, or any other. Now, then where you have hosted your work, you share the link to that work, and here the work must be public. You have to share it publicly so that we are able to access it and evaluate it. So here you give only the links to your data sources right here. Then here you give the link to your submission, a link to the actual product you're submitting. And then you give a brief description of the work that you have submitted, and then you submit your entry. So where do you find the link? Once you go to the RCA Arts and Map website, you'll find at the very top, at the top menu, you'll find home, about the competition, past winners. Then we have the professional category submission link right there for the professional category. It takes you to the same form that I was presenting, and then you have the school category submission link. You click it, and then it will take you to the submission link for the school category. So with that, that is how you submit the format, or you submit your work per the format that you have and per the category that you are in, either professional or the school category. Thank you. Back to you, Abby. And if Isaac is online, we will be able to let him in. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph, for taking us through the submission links. We'll share the submission links on the chat so that you're able to access them. As he also said, they are available on the Arts and Maps website. So Isaac is back online. I'd like him to just come in and finalize his presentation on the submission formats before we get to the Q&A section.
Okay, thanks, Abigail. Thanks, Joseph. So I was going to the school category. So I think it has been discussed. So I'll just show some. So on our website, you will go to. So we expect 4 different or 4 submission formats. So we have the painting, which now is a paint done by the students, and then we have a drawing. So painting and drawing, they are basically related, but make sure that you don't use computer-generated graphics because that will be disqualified. So make sure you have a painting that you've done or a drawing that you've done, and then submit to the judges for them to evaluate. Then there's a new format. There are 2 new formats that have been introduced. We have the essay and then the video. So on the essay or the video, make sure that you write very brief, maybe up to 300 or 200 words of what you are trying to submit. And then on the video, make sure that you record each and every step that you've done to a maximum of 3 minutes. I think we'll be able to describe that within the submission link. It has been described. So make sure that you keep your video as short as possible. And if it emerges the winner, and then the judges will be able to give you a lot of marks, and you'll be able to be part of the winning team. So if I just go through some of the submission formats that were made. So We have the paintings here. So they did a very nice painting of their submission. So make sure when you're submitting as a teacher, make sure you have your students or your pupils captured. Once they're captured, you make sure you attach the student photo and their drawing. So if you come to, for example, this Arise Primary School, the winning entry was this drawing stroke painting. So you are able to have a comparison of the two sides where there is life, and maybe this was talking about global warming. It should be able to communicate. So in the left section, you find that there's no much life. There's a lot of heat. There's deterioration in health. While on the right, you can see the birds are very jovial, celebrating, meaning there is good life on the right side of the drawing. So make sure when you're doing such painting or drawing, they should also be able to communicate. This is another drawing from the school category. So you can be able to see there's a tree being planted here. It's being watered, and then the final frame is showing now they're harvesting. These are the fruits of their labor, and you can see it has contributed positively either on food security or in biodiversity and forestry. So you find that any painting that you do, make sure that you have different sections that are able to communicate differently and pass information to the users and the judges. So those are samples of paintings and drawings. So essays and videos have been introduced this year. So we'll also be showing them in the next competition if we receive such entries. So for our next class, which will be now taking you through how you can be able to create these formats, you will be able to be guided on how you come up with these products on step-by-step guide until you submit your dashboard, story map, or painting or drawing. So we'll be having a training starting on 31st July. So I hope Abigail will be able to share the link in our chat box and also be able to share with those who have attended to attend the trainings online, because we'll be doing trainings in story maps, dashboards, and other web applications that we require for this competition. So make sure you join. If you receive that invitation, it's very free, totally free, and we'll be able to guide you through the steps that you need in order to achieve the objective of this competition. So having done that, I would like to hand over to Abigail to proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac, for taking us through the primary school submission formats. And I'd like us now to jump into the Q&A sections. If you have questions and you would like to ask, please just raise your hand and our team will be able to unmute you so that you are able to ask your questions. But in the meantime, I can go through a couple of questions, the ones that are yet to be answered on the chat. Also, please note that the chat and the Q&A sections are available. If you want to type in your questions, you can do so, and our team is on standby to answer all your queries. So I'd like to, there's a question that has been raised, and I'll give it to Isaac to answer. My question is, this is from Yusta Nyambura. My question is, if in case you don't win, do you get feedback on your work for future corrections? Isaac, please take that up.
If you don't win, you get...
In case you don't win, do you get
Yes.
feedback on your work for future corrections?
Normally, For the judging process, the judges normally do the evaluation and then they bring up the top 10. So the top 10, we have winners in biodiversity, forests and seascapes. So the top 10 are now taken to the public voting. So we normally don't communicate, but we normally just post or publish those that have already that emerged the winners. So from there, maybe you can see if you didn't win or you won. So basically, we don't communicate, but it's something that you might consider communicating to the participant and see if it can be able to bring some improvement in the next competition.
Thank you, Isaac, for that. I think the biggest challenge is usually the number of entries, which is usually massive. And
Yes.
then that then sort of becomes a challenge to be able to send feedback to each and every entry. So that is usually a challenge. But like he said, we will consider that for this competition and future competitions and see how that pans out. There's a question from Kimani Mwangi. He's asking, can a community project participate? I'm part of Githurai People's Urban Smart Park, and we do art hangouts on Saturdays. Will our entries be eligible? Isaac?
Okay, so that is fine. So for the community or a group project, so normally we accept the submissions, but when the winner is announced, only one representative will be taken care of. But when they're awarded, now they can go and share the prize amongst themselves. But during the award process, only one person is allowed to do the submission, and only one person will be taken care of during the award period or the award time. So if it's to fly the winner, only one person will be flown to the destination, and only that person will receive the award. And therefore, when he goes back or she goes back to the community, they can be able to share the award amongst themselves. So yes, we accept, but only one person will be a representative of the group. Over to you, Abigail.
Thank you. Also, just to note, for the primary and the secondary school entries, those are usually group entries. Students are allowed to participate or rather enter the competition as a group of, I think, from about 5 or so, if I'm not wrong. However, like Isaac said, for the professional category, it's an individual sort of entry. So you can be able to participate, contribute, but only one person. If it is for the professional category, one person is the one allowed to submit an entry. But if it is artwork or any other form of art for the primary and the secondary school categories, that one we allow for group entries. There's another question from Ndlovu P, and he's asking, for the mapping dashboards, are we required to use ArcGIS dashboards exclusively, or can we use other platforms such as HTML, Streamlit, or Google Earth Engine apps? Additionally, are we allowed to combine data from RCMRD with datasets from other sources such as Google Earth Engine? For example, can I use CVS data containing Landsat derived indices exported from Google Earth Engine in my dashboard? Isaac, are you able to take that up?
That's well in the Ndlovu. So the answer to this one, you're allowed to combine different data sets, but make sure in your data sets, at least 2 are coming from the sources that we listed. So when you go to our platform, you'll get the data sources. So you can at least show that you've used 2 of our data sets in conjunction with your other external data sets. That is the answer to the second section. The first part is if you can use dashboards. Yes, you can create your products in other software platforms, but make sure during the submission, you submit it through the ArcGIS platform. So we'll be giving you an account, so you'll be supposed to submit through the S3 ArcGIS and ecosystem or environment. So you can either call them through APIs, you can call those applications through APIs, you can call them through any other means, but make sure you can still submit a hub that combines all those products that you mentioned. So make sure you use our hub to submit the product, and through that hub, you can be able to call different products from different sources, and you'll be able to evaluate your work. Over to you, Abigail.
Thank you, Isaac, for that. And Lovu, I hope Isaac has answered your question. There's another question from Mude Mary Wangare, and you're asking, you mentioned only one person will fly to the destination for the award. Do you cater for the flight ticket? And is it like a fixed specific price, or do you cater for the whole ticket? Okay, so for this year, the award ceremony will be in Windhoek, Namibia. The award usually happens during our annual governing council meeting or our biennial Conference of Ministers meeting. So this year it will be the Conference of Ministers meeting happening in Namibia. So we cover, for all the winners, we'll cover their flight and accommodation for the period that they'll be in Namibia to receive the award. I hope that answers your question. Any other question that I may have missed?
Submitting. Okay, from Nikugize Liana Doli is submitting early adds up. No, it doesn't add up. This is not a rolling basis competition. So whether submit late or early, provided you submit within the time frame, your output will be evaluated. So ArcGIS is not a free source. How do you? So it's not free, but we are providing the licenses. So when you go to our platform, you'll get a place to sign up, and then you'll be able to receive you'll be able to enter your details to create an account, and you'll use that account to create or to develop your tools or applications before you submit to us. So in professional category, yeah, Abigail, this what you are also discussing, maybe you can respond to Georgie Cherian.
Yes.
If there's a certificate.
Yes, Georgie, in professional category, will you give certificate for participation to all participants? For the moment, I think certificates are given to, we'll give certificates to the winners and the top 10 in those categories, but unfortunately not all the participants for the competition. And then, so I just want to highlight, before we answer the next set of questions, I just want to highlight the key dates that you need to mark. So the registration and submission deadline is scheduled for 31st of August, 2026. That is at midnight, just 1 minute before midnight, East Africa time. And then we have one more submission and formats webinar, one more participant orientation webinar scheduled for August. And then the judges and evaluation process begins from 1st of October to 20th of October. After that, we have a poll for the overall winner category which is the People's Choice Award, from the 23rd of October to the 28th of October. And then finally, the winners will be announced on the 17th of November during the RCMRD's Conference of Ministers meeting to be held in Namibia. I think that sort of covers the key dates that you need to look out for. Isaac mentioned ACG's online access. I think for the professional category, what we'll do, we'll send out a communication to all the registered participants about how they can be able to get the credentials for logging onto the ACG's online so that they can be able to either start working on their submissions or finalize their submissions. So Ndlovu, that will be shared. You'll be able to get that communication in the course of the week. There's a question from Robert Mururi. Is it all about conservation, or is climate action also allowed? Even climate action is allowed. So it's not just about biodiversity conservation, but also activities related to climate actions, as long as your piece sticks, or rather is within the theme for the competition, which is sorry, acting locally for global impact. Yes, Aisha, we will avail the webinar recording. It will be posted on our social media platforms, and we'll also be able to send a link to all the registered participants. There's a question from Glovu. In climate action, do you consider urban heat islands? Isaac?
Hi, Abigail. Yeah, Ndlovu. Yeah, we are focusing on 3 thematic areas. So the thematic areas you are focusing is on biodiversity, forest, and seascapes. So as long as you can be able to justify how your climate action in urban heat islands in climate action is related to biodiversity, seascape, and forestry in the world of conservation, you can be able to submit it. But if you make the judges start guessing if it relates, then you will lose marks. So make sure when you're submitting, whatever product that you have, there's a description you give. If it aligns well with the thematic areas, and if it influences or it affects conservation efforts within the 3 thematic areas, then you can be able to submit it.
Thank you, Isaac. Masobeng has asked, I have registered, she's raised a query. She has registered, I don't know if it's a she or a he, my apologies. You're saying you have registered for the competition, but have not received any email confirming that your registration was successful. I have noted your name and I'll look out for that registration. In any case, all the registered participants will be receiving communication on the next step this week. So, but in case you still have further queries, you can be able to just send us an email on mapcompetition@rcmrd.org so that we are able to follow up with your registration. Is there any other question that we have not yet answered? Is there anyone else with a burning question? Finhas Odhiambo is asking, the link for registration and submission Is it different? What is the process of application? Joseph, would you like to take that?
Yes, the registration and submission link are different. So registration is for registering that you're going to participate in the competition. Submission is for submitting your work. And at this stage, we are doing submission. We're at the stage of submitting the work. So you just go straight to submission once you're done with your work and then submit. But we shall leave the registration link open because that is the list that you are using to send our broadcast. So for submission, you just go to the Arts and Map website and you'll find the links there. Let me see if I can share the screen again. Okay, I think I'm having give me a moment.
Okay, as we wait for Joseph to share his screen, is there any other question? There's a question from Georgie. He's saying, I'm an Indian. Can I register by giving Angola my country and participate with a product?
No, you cannot.
But he lives in Angola, if that's the case, if I'm understanding, right?
But is he a citizen of Angola? So you can only do that if you have a citizenship of Angola, because even if you win, we shall be required to submit your Angola documents. So unless you're there by either birth, naturalization, or any other means of citizenship acquisition.
Okay, thank you. Isaac, what if he's a permanent resident?
But it's not a national of Angola.
Okay.
Yes. So to be precise, we're only dealing with nationals. We shall only accept entries from the nationals, not residents.
Okay.
So I hope you can see my screen. So once you go to the RCA Arts and Maps page, you will see two links up here. We are going to add the registration link here so that you're able to register if you had not registered before. And then this is, if you're in the professional category, this is the link that you click. And then once you open it, you add your details there, the full name, the country, the gender, the profession, the age bracket, the email, the submission category, and then submission format, data sources, the link to your data sources, the link to your submission, and then you give a brief description. We had covered this. And then on the school category, this is what you'll find: the school name, the level of the school, the country, the name of the teacher, the telephone number and the email address, the grade of the student, submission format, the list of the participants, and here is where submit the photo and the photo of the participants and the photo of the painting or drawing, and then you share a link to the video if that is the format you're submitting, and the essay if that is the format you're submitting. And then you also give a brief description of what you're submitting. Yeah. So you'll find the link on the RCA Arts and Maps page. Okay, back to you, Abigail.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. There's a question from Aisha. Is there a category for learners with intellectual and development disabilities from ages 12 to 24? Isaac?
That's a good suggestion. Yeah, we had not thought about it. I think these are feedback that you're receiving from the participants, and we can be able to discuss internally and see if we can be able to bring it within this competition or in the subsequent competitions, Abigail. So at the moment, we cannot be able to respond to that. Yes, but we'll be able to discuss and see if it can be. Thank you.
Yes, but in the meantime, I'd like to comment, do not be hindered to submit.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even at that category, you can still proceed to choose one of the categories that exist, the primary, the secondary, or the professional category, and submit your work. Do
Yeah.
not be, there's no hindrance for you to
Yeah.
submit. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Joseph and Isaac, for that. I don't think there's a question that we've not answered. We'll be able to share this recording with all the participants. And then, so there's something that Isaac mentioned just before we close in relation to the training on story maps. And I'd like to share something with the participants here. So we have an upcoming training that is scheduled for from the 10th of August to the 21st of August. The training is transforming maps into stories and data into decisions. So the theme basically is to learn how to create interactive web maps, story maps, data dashboards, and GeoX applications that drive conservation action. So I'm going to share the poster for that training, which comes in handy. And the good thing is the training is before the submission deadline for the competition. So you'll be able to actually delve into the details, the nitty-gritty details of how to develop these tools. Let me just share my screen so that you're able to see. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. Yeah, so this is the official poster for the training. It's transforming maps into data, into stories, and data into decisions. So like I said, the training period is between 10th of August to 21st of August. And we officially launched this course, this online course, on the 7th of August 2026. So the registration deadline for this course is 31st of August. I'll share the link where you can be able to register so that you are able to attend, and you'll be taken through the key tools, like I mentioned, the ArcGIS Online, the dashboard, the story maps, and GeoHex. So these are some of the tools that you'll use to develop your entries for this competition. So I'll be able to share this poster and the registration link for the training. Also, just to note that the first module of the training, which will start on the 10th, we'll just be talking about transforming maps into stories. So it will be an introduction to ArcGIS Online, building interactive web maps, designing dashboards, and also the ArcGIS story maps. Those are the key focus for module 1. So I'll be able to share that link on the chat so that you're able to register and participate in the online course. The course is free. You just need to register and be part of that training. Yes. Any other question? Do we have any other question? You can even ask a question regarding the training. So I've shared the link to register for the training for those who are interested for the training. I've seen your text on the chat that you registered for the training, but still not confirmed it was successful. So we'll be able to follow up with our capacity building team and find out just so that they can be able to send a communication to you in regards to the training. I think that basically covers it for today. If we do not have any further questions, I'd like to close this session. Thank you to everyone for joining, and I wish you all the best in your submissions. Bye-bye.